I am not, but I am. Oh, ready or not, here we come, infidels. You can't run, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. It's Big Stevie Cool. It's the NXT TakeOver this morning. Wrestling burnout, and we're fucking still 5 days away from the end of WrestleMania. How are we gonna make it through all this? Hall of Fames, NXTs, Impacts, AEWs, WrestleMania. It's all going down full access here on the Friday Locker Room. Yalla. Wherever you're getting this, hopefully you're enjoying it. We are here on YouTube, Ben Hamin channel and Hamin Media Group for right now as we re-platform and regroup, drop back to higher ground to get a change in view and redo some things. But we appreciate all of our loyal listeners joining us this morning for the Friday Locker Room Ultra Declassified Kayfabe Thursday taping live on YouTube. You guys, good morning, Stevie. I was so exhausted last night. I actually slept pretty well in the 6 hours that I went out, more than I have in a while. And Stevie Richards Fitness got me feeling good. Shoulders and chest feel strong today. 2 good days of workout back to back. Do a little cardio today. How are you this morning, bud?
I'm good. I think I was exhausted too. I think I know the meeting that we had. And by the way, what we're looking at, speaking of the meetings, is adding that as a possible tier for the Patreon model or whatever paywall model we have, so people can see the pitch meetings and things like that. But, those kinds of talks are really good. And we ended up closer than we were before the meeting. And everybody just has to, I think that's what's wrong with the world today is we weren't technically in an echo chamber, but you could say we were in a way because we have a little bit of momentum. We kind of rode that. We lost 4 TV shows. We were talking about the paranormal investigation, which we thought would create the next step for us a couple of years ago. And we've realized now that we need to kind of reinvent. We all have these talents. All 4 of us have talents, whether on the production side, the talent side, the structure side, whatever. And we've actually been wasting those talents, are not utilizing them. And that's something we want to see if we want to pour into this new journey we're going to have. Possibly the best thing that ever happened was us getting pretty much deplatformed and unpersoned to some extent.
Did you see what I just sent maybe 10 minutes ago in the Horseman chat?
The disclosed TV thing about Twitch?
Yeah, disclosed TV.
So what's different about that than what they've been doing, though?
This is because Twitch is on Amazon servers. If it said, let me bring it up here. This just in the portal video at Twitch, which belongs to Amazon, announced that users will now also be, quote, suspended for actions beyond the platform. So beyond Twitch, what you're doing on, I don't know what that means, whatever else that Amazon can clock your usage of, whatever else might be on Amazon servers, Rockfin or whatever. Let's say it's that, and people got booted for doing what we do, and they're over there, but it's on Amazon server. They can still boot you from Twitch based on that. I'm just saying hypothetically. I don't know where Rockfin is. I don't want to badmouth their product, but
beyond the platform could be if you have a podcast on Podbean, which is hosted on Amazon servers. That's what you mean.
Exactly. So something has happened. And the Hamin Media Group is one of the first ones to take some heavy artillery fire in this media war. But in the last month, it's been something that's flipped the switch all the way around. You can go to my Twitter yesterday where I just had to quote Russo. I don't think he saw it. I tagged him on the pictures, but I also tagged Elon Musk and OJ. So that's, when Russo reached out to YouTube, because we handle his YouTube, we saw it, like the amount of revenue is decreased by 80%. and meanwhile, viewership keeps going up and up and up and up every month, and new subscribers go up and up. But now the numbers have gone inversely of that because he had to hit up at Team YouTube about with a nasty gram from his lawyer. And since then, it stopped. The other day, I looked at my analytics. I was averaging 10,000 to 12,000 daily views. Now, the last week, it's been down to 700, bro. But what did Team YouTube say? There's no such thing as shadow banning. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah. my channel also, which I've experienced the demonetization of every video until I took down the Horseman episodes. I experienced my hate speech riddled morning warm up got completely destroyed by YouTube, and all my money went down. My subs went down the minute I took the morning warm up off of YouTube and stopped streaming it. It went right back up. Now it's coming back down. My money down about 50%. My subs are up to almost 75,000 subscribers, yet my views go down each and every time in the fitness space. Which wouldn't you think, as you put up more fitness content, that people are going to look at your reviews? And I even stuck to the schedule of every Sunday night at a certain time. And if there's a second video, it's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And now just to see what happens if I don't upload any videos. Oh, my subs are going up more than they were when I was uploading videos. So I'm being punished for uploading more content for the subscribers that want to view the content, but aren't. I've been victim to looking at the negative view number at one point. Remember that?
Yeah.
Negative views. And remember when, if you knew you were going to have a lot of views, it would be 301 within the first hour, right, and then it would shoot. I had the 301, it shot up. Then they took views away. Then the views crept back up. I don't think that's a shadow banning thing. I think that's a Ponzi scheme. I think that's a way for them to profit off of the ad revenue, but you're not seeing the views yourself. In other words, maybe you do have more views, but we're getting the ad money off the real views.
Right. Well,
now, I mean, just like you're demonetized. You're demonetized. Most demonetized channels, you'll still have ads, but YouTube will keep the money. Well, what kind of virtue signaling is that?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're really truly virtuous,
at least you think they'd give you the like a fucked up number. Like they'd look at 10 grand. They wouldn't show you that they're dropping an X amount because you're demonetized anyway.
I'm saying this is a way to, this is a wrestling promoter tactic of the house is light.
Yeah.
You're looking out there and there's a full house. So 75,000 subscribers, 500 views on a full like home gym equipment review. Now I'm converting now here's another thing. I'm converting the affiliate sales. My conversion rate can't be that high.
Right.
Like, you're talking about a 10% conversion rate or something off of 500 views. That's a pretty good conversion. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's got to be more views than are really going on. That's the shadow banning part, but they're going to sure as hell take the money on and tell Verizon or whoever else or whatever other company is doing ads. Oh, they're probably doing podcast one. You're seeing 500, but they're telling the advertisers it's 50,000. Mm-hmm. So they can pump up the numbers to get their ad revenue. I don't think it's truly an evil thing. I just think it's a greed, which is evil in a way in this case.
Well, I mean, it's not
it's a lot more explainable than the big shadow, the guy behind the curtain kind of thing. I think it's people sitting there like, we'll give them a little bit of money, they'll be happy, and if they complain, we'll give them a little bit more. But we know the real number that we should be giving them.
Right. And that's before but now they've sacrificed even that for some greater NWO media move, whether it's flagging us on Podbean with Universal Music, demonetized there, or, I was talking to Feeney, he said they got a strike on Spreaker because people are like, Conan uses music and they're on Spreaker. I'm like, okay, but guess what? They might be moving to strictly Patreon model too, man. So it's a retreat right now, but that doesn't mean the war is lost by any means. It's just we need to restructure and use the internet as best we can. And now even the queer deer are back at Twitch to get you when you're not even on Twitch. How is that even possible, man? How is that being allowed? I'm thinking I'm going to reach out to that Indiana politician to just send them a couple things, you know what I mean? Maybe as a guest so we can keep that conversation going further. But plenty of conversations to be had this week. And yeah, thanks for sticking with us, you guys. Horseman last night and following us where we need to go. So, but it's wrestling.
It's going to turn out to be a better show, better production, tighter structure. We're really going to try to make this like a legitimate radio style show or TV production show, depending upon tiers. I even named some of the tiers just off the top of my head. I think they sound pretty cool, based on They Live.
Yeah, no, that was
and,
great. Absolutely.
And people are going to support, and back in the day when you could get bits and super chats, this could probably be a better value, and there might even be some daily content, Tim Pool style, where we're hitting these kind of roulette type topics. If you feel like going live and saying, "Hey, man, look at this shit," and blah blah blah, that could be part of it too, and that'll help us keep the weekly show, or however many times we do it. It will get. Yeah, I saw the suicide awareness video because she's making people aware of suicide, so that's evil. Goldilocks got a strike. And that's one of the real epidemics. That's one of the real epidemics that we need to talk about. That's going to be a multi-year, if not decade-long, childhood depression, anxiety, suicides, the adults talking about domestic abuse, and how many people have done murder suicides, husband, wife, family right now that we're not even talking about.
What
that
are
on slow news.
4 and 5 year olds with compliance, just breaking them at a very early age in their life. What are they
breaking them? Like not even knowing, like breaking them. I mean, you're what's the word for trying to tell them, okay, now you can choose your gender. What do you want to be? Like dude, I'm almost 50 and I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do in my life. But you know what I mean? It's flowing and it changes. This is the real trick of we talk, this is not even wrestling stuff, but we always thought as conspiracy theorists that this would be like the sexy fallout of mankind, the sexy depopulation, like there'll be instant rapture type, everybody bodies piled up, because in Lawrenceville, Georgia here, we got all these FEMA coffins, or people will be mass executed.
New World Order in Denver and shit, like the DC's done,
post-apocalyptic type scenario, nuclear war, whatever. I think we're kind of looking at it right now, because the vaccination side effects and the deaths, or the eventual deaths from the side effects, are not even reported right now. There are no numbers. There's nobody keeping the data. And if they are, who knows if these people will even be around much longer. But I'm talking about without any vaccines, without just the case of the depression, the suicide, the lack of self-worth, the people's minds, the kids that don't think it's okay to be close to somebody now, that it's not okay to hug somebody. There's no place for comfort. These are real things that are immeasurable. And then these people become adults that need to be productive members of society.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
So I'm looking for 13 acres.
Oh, man. But I got
wrestling, of course. Wrestling is supposed to be the escape from this, but it's so terrible you can't even do it. And then this should be the week of more press junkets than ever, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, there's going to be a shit ton. I mean, that really, for a big WrestleMania week, the news is pretty not that in depth. There's a couple things that are like, but nothing too crazy as far as, it's not like anybody's hanging out with CM Punk and shit. Getting the inside scoop there.
Staring contests with Stephen Amell. That's probably the highlight of WrestleMania week.
It's funny that you say that, because
they have it in. I made the news.
You made the news. Stevie Richards and Stephen Amell during their go home speech have a big stare down now. But then here's one from the news.
You missed the eye roll.
This guy didn't miss it.
If it was a real talent meeting, I would do the eye roll. That's if somebody called me, or I'd be like, oh God, not again, this fucking guy.
Well, this is popular. I mean, we can go in the news, then go back out if we need to. Shawn Michaels addresses recent stare down with Adam Cole. I wasn't really even looking at him. I was looking sideways, but he thought I was looking right at him, said Shawn Michaels. No,
I was asking the people and intimidating him at the same time. Sorry, I cut into that.
No, that was good. That was a rib by me anyway. But managing editor at Wrestle Stink, Dick Hausman, asked Michaels about his recent stare down with Adam Cole back in March and what it could lead to. He says, well, look, I was walking back to the ring and he just started staring at me. So I started staring back. That Adam Cole, if he looks at me wrong, I might just have to slap the taste out of his mouth. Nah, I'm just kidding. I love Adam Cole. He's one of my boys. Everybody knows some similarities between Adam Cole and myself. To me, that was just a fun, awesome moment. That was just a moment between Adam Cole and myself. Got to say, for me, it was kind of fun. It got me a little giddy too, because that's one of those ones you wish you were 10 or 15 years younger. That would have been cool at one time. So Sean laying off that they're going to have a match, even though they do a stare down to pop themselves and be marks for themselves to try and lay the groundwork. But we were doing stare downs, and Michaels with the eye gimmick is just funny to me. Anything talking about a stare down.
We'll see if the Wildcats wrestling match happens.
Oh man. See, I mean, before we even get to any other headlines or anything like that, yeah, dude. Next week, I'm wondering, it might be the dream matchup that they've both been waiting for. Could it be Strangler Steve and Stevie Richards here on the Friday Locker Room, as I will be out of the country as well, possibly. I'm going to try and hook that dream match up. If not, we got other possible talents we can fill in. I don't want to commit you not knowing what your week is going down for next week.
No, next Thursday should be okay. I don't foresee myself buying any $400,000 houses today, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. I only don't work Tuesdays. That's all I told Mel. That's the big ribbon locker room. Yes, it'd be great to do it with Steve and have two people there, and I'll have to get some headlines or something, or we'll just talk about stuff. And it'll be a post WrestleMania type coverage, so we can just talk about the things we've seen in business moving forward. Hopefully not, but probably talk about people that got cut like on Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Strangler's actually going to Mania too, so he'll have a first person point of view.
I'm sorry.
2CW offices heading down there. They like to get hit the big pay-per-views, get in and out, and see some friends. So you'll have a first-hand account of what it was like there in Florida.
Yeah, he won't hold back. He'll tell me who the assholes were, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's not. He's not politicking for any job. He's just worried about the 2CW reunion more than anything, man. So I actually got a nice little outreach last night out of nowhere, and it was good after the Horseman meeting. I was just like, and then in the DMs came through something from Sammy Callahan, who said, I love what you guys are doing on the podcast, and I'm going to talk to management about coming on. So keep an eye out on the Impact Attack. Definitely have the draw on himself, man, and pre-2CW reunion, where he's also the champ there, but it'll be good to contact with Sammy and get that real locker room talk as well. So some days we get dismayed, we get frustrated, and we get burnt out on wrestling, but everybody's always listening. And when it comes to Sammy and his hacker gimmick, I feel like, you know, a bit of that magic comes from Black Market Creative of Hamin Media Group. And it's cool, man, when it comes back to you like that, especially after a frustrating week.
Yeah, I would dare say, and I'm sure it's not a hot take, that his talent and his money-making ability is completely wasted at Impact. Sure, It's creatively, it's what it is, but he should be making a lot more money, and I hope they're paying him very well for what he's doing. So he's put the time in. He's got a gimmick that he's actually getting over, that was supposed to get over in NXT, and I hope that somehow, some way, he makes his way back to that money if he's not making it already.
Yeah, but from watching what I saw in NXT, he's already light years beyond them, and then WWE wouldn't know how to do his gimmick, and then at Impact, he's just going to get lost in the fold as another indie guy, at AEW. So at Impact, he has carte blanche to do his art the right way, but we're in such a rough spot there right now that I wish the best for him. I'm glad to see he's getting his stuff out there, but where does a guy like that go to really make the money and get featured? Mike Martin says, Girl on Cinema would be great on here. I agree. That's why I sent her a DM, and so did Matt through the hMg stuff. So, and she faved. So if you guys want her on, you know where to find her. I think she has some very interesting viewpoints as I watched a few of her things, and her AEW digs pop me. But can only reach out and do what we need to do. I don't have time to wait around for other YouTubers who will eventually be shadow banned themselves to then come out of the woodwork and hit us up, man. What else, Stevie, going on this weekend? Anything?
Well, I'm looking at more houses. Well, the whole thing with, we talk about business. We're all in flux right now. So just a side note, the home gym business is doing very well. I mean, much more than I ever expected, but it still needs to grow. So there needs to be maybe a different location and be able to have different equipment to be able to review. Even though we're trying a minimalistic type approach to everything, you still, if you got the same product all the time that you're talking about, there's only so much content you can do. And also what you and I always talk about is just future income streams and different ways that can give us a safety net over. That's kind of what you're holding off on with where are we going to go as far as a content platform. We're still months into waiting for that. And that's frustrating because if it's no, then no. If it's yes, then okay, we can build something that protects us with regard to shadow banning and getting demonetized and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like we're sitting on hypothetically 20 keys of raw cocaine, but we got no distribution network. We got the big stockpile of the good stuff, but no place to disseminate it where we're going to be able to get it out in mass quantity. So we're figuring that part out.
But the whole thing is that this is something I tell everybody, and this is the thing. We're coming up on WrestleMania, and I know that the talent doesn't. You're gonna laugh. The talent doesn't care what I have to say. They know everything, and what do I know because I've never won fake matches.
Right.
But you got to do that every time you have an income stream. You have to learn how to create multiple ones. This is what creates millionaires. Neither one of us are millionaires, but we're sure as hell making more than zero by having different income streams. These wrestlers that are about to be cut are sitting there waiting to be cut instead of preparing to be cut, if that makes any sense at all. And then you have them eventually maybe coming to you or somebody else or Russo, but kind of expecting to get the pay up front before they put the work in. That's also a curse of the snake bitten nature of pro wrestling,
of working for somebody else your whole life, just waiting for the check, thinking that that's going to get to you. Now you're on the outside and you got to be the boss and be the inspired one and the hustler. And then the money might come if you apply yourself. It's not, I just did this, now pay me. Like that's not how this shit works, because they put themselves in a bubble for so long that they don't know about the hustle and grind on the outside. It's just fucking spoon fed to them. But that's not what's empowering. And it's also not as frustrating and maddening, I guess, when you got to do it all yourself, except the ownership and the decisions all lie on them and you. And once you make that even $1, it's more fulfilling. And even with Horseman, being on the outside of the bubble, we made our own small bubble, but at least last night's meeting and other ones, we know that we're in there and it's time to break out. They never know how. They can't even see it that they are. But I guess when you're making $3 million a year,
or claiming to.
Well,
I mean, dude, the grind is the grind. Like, right. What's a worse grind? I'll tell you what I think. A worse grind is having to get up almost every morning for a 6 a.m. flight or drive 200 to 300 miles a night to go to each show, knowing you're getting buried with no hopes of getting pushed, no matter how much good you look, how much your work's there. And also, as you improve and get to be a better worker and you get to be a veteran, the new toys come in who hurt everybody. And then they get paid way more money and you get hurt and you're sitting at home not getting paid while they're getting a bigger push. That's a grind. And then, of course, just to travel, like I said, hotel room every night, driving or flying, going to a different place and going to a place where you're never going to be in control of your destiny. No matter how much they say, there's no glass ceiling. It's up to you to make your own push. How many times have we seen that bullshit not come true?
It's up to you to have your mom tweet so you can get a fucking.
Well, but you can sit there. Like I used to sit there and say, oh, what are you going to do? All right, I'll go this week. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe this definition of insanity isn't the definition of insanity. Or I could have said, I'm going to do my own thing. And I did my own thing. And this is the biggest I believe in God, you don't, but in a way, whatever the universe or God was trying to tell me that it wasn't time. I was currently on TV in WWE and TNA trying to start some sort of fitness or tech type thing. I had my tech channel. Nobody cared. I had my fitness brand with in-person personal training. And the ads were, basically me on TV. They used to play me wrestling on TNA as I was in the gym training people. Nobody wanted me to train them. This is 2000, from 2002 or 2003 until finally in 2016, I started SRF. Wasn't even successful then.
How many billions of dollars did they possibly leave on the table by not taking that opportunity, taking you, Triple H, and whoever else, and doing a complete knockoff of Beachbody.com? Tony Horton went from
Tony Horton went
from a D-level Cinemax softcore porn star to fucking making $300-490 million in the first 2 years of P90X and all that Beachbody shit, bro. You imagine it? All you'd have to do is knock off P90X, have you do that, have Triple H do the Body Beast one, have one of the girls do a yoga ones. There's all this shit that was right there, and they still didn't even really pull the trigger on it.
Well, what they did was they came out with the Triple H and Stephanie McMahon workout that never went anywhere. It was just
a one-off. Yeah, that wasn't a fucking full subscription thing. How Beachbody is right now.
Yeah, the thing with, and it's an overarching message, and I know people are like, "Well, where are the headlines?" I'm sure nobody's saying that, but yeah, I mean, it's just, it wasn't my time, and that's why now it's like, as the wrestler saying, hey, the money's got to run out sometime. This income stream might go away tomorrow on everything we're doing. But if I have 3 to 4 or 5 of them and 3 of them go away and I got 2, now I can find the others. It's a maddening thing. But if you are into what you're doing and you're willing to, like we took the lumps last night where we had to come to Jesus moment for all of us with the Horsemen. If you're willing to still push forward after that and have the bad days or the good days or whatever days you're going to have, they're still your fucking days. They're not Vince McMahon days. They're not Tony Khan's days. They're not all. And if they want to pay you money, that's an income stream to help create the other ones, not to sit there and actually, I don't know what's the term, but just kind of sit there and go, I'm a WWE superstar, I'm an AEW superstar. I'll sit here and just jerk myself off on Twitch.
They want to be Lexi Kaufman. They want to be, I saw Carmella put
Trish Parker and all that stuff.
Carmella's got her shoot name up there. Like she's, this is me over here, but I'm a human of value of over here. What the fuck, man? It just shows how broken they are. I mean, I say that. Meanwhile, I grow a beard to play a fucking Muslim extremist and call myself something else. But a rose by any other name would smell as sweet, Stevie. Oh, man. I appreciate it. I hope I wasn't too stressed out in the last 48 hours or the last week. I know it's been a lot listening to me bitch about freedom of speech.
Dude, it's easy for me to tell you what's going on when everything in your mind is completely different. If you came to me and said, oh, this is how you need to run your website, this is the way you need to film your workout videos, this, that, and the other thing, if I'm confused, you just have to figure it out yourself. All we did in that meeting last night and moving forward was just trying to turn the negative into a positive. And it's your brand. It's your
Well, it's our art.
The Conspiracy Horseman is our show on your brand.
Committee is important to me, and also active listening is, and especially with 3 of my brothers who I have eternal love for, I'm going to sit there and listen to what they're really saying and not go, well, I get that, but I'm going to do my thing. No, there's a better way forward if I can break myself down. A lot of people can't even come to that first step and be like, let me just be a dartboard for ideas and take them, you know what I mean? And that's what I just wanted to sit there and do. It was no, well, these guys are hammering on me. It's just like, when it comes from your older brothers, it's like, okay, you just got to take that.
We're hammering on ourselves. We all had fallen into that. Here's the thing. I'll take the Rip Rogers saying, this is the number one. here's the number one rule that you need to tell yourself, or number one catchphrase or saying that you need to internalize and tell yourself every day to push yourself.
Popsy, you're a big fat cocksucker.
Yes. Or Steve Richards, stop that faggot ECW shit here. He isn't going to play. That's what he told me.
I know. Yeah.
I was like, well, wait a minute. How's that? Like, how do those two words combine? I'm quoting him. I'm not saying.
Meanwhile, Rip's over for doing the faggot gimmicks.
Yeah. If you think you're over, you ain't over. In other words, if I start to think my business is exactly where it needs to be, I'm not growing. I'm not getting better. I'm leaving money. Even Stevie Richards Fitness. Hey, as much as it's cool to see sales and all this stuff, and I love the people to have invested and continue to, be evangelists for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the numbers and how many sales I have with 8+ billion people in the world. I haven't even scratched the surface. What am I doing wrong that I'm not reaching that demographic or demographics? In this country has 339 million people. I have not sold even 100,000 programs. So like those numbers are like, what am I missing with that? So
right.
That's what you should do as a wrestler too. Who am I not reaching? Why am I not where I should be? And why am I not, or do I need to get away from this, get over in Hollywood or somewhere and come back and make the money I'm supposed to make? Yeah, that's the key.
There too. But that was the dream, and now it's not that. Everyone's just kind of up in the air with it, but we are pushing forward. I also want to say thanks to not just Sammy Callahan sending that message, but I got some great messages from Media M5 and other listeners, that know we're going through it, but I know you guys are going through a lot in your own lives, and you send these great messages of saying you don't know how much you've helped me on my drives to work. Some of our truckers out there, people who are getting inspired to get back in shape at any way and any level they can using Stevie Richards Fitness and the yoga programs and everything we're trying to do. We're just trying to build a community because there's a lot of like-minded thinkers out there who get inspired or need inspiration and need distraction and need real talk. And that's what they know we have it here. It's just how do we repackage it and serve it up so we can get even more like-minded thinkers, because we just have that small, diehard, dedicated, absolutely fanatical group of Hamin Media Group listeners, and we just want to expand that because we know there's more out there. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to all of my Conspiracy Horseman brothers for being inspiring, man. It's just going to be work, and work is fine, especially when it's creative. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be this. At the end of the day, 3-4 months from now, we look back, we go, best move we fucking made. Best move we established using the free platforms. Now we're on this. We have as much control as we can until Amazon says the queer deer snitched on you and you're out of here too. So, and if that happens, we're off the Amazon servers. I'll look at one other thing and then we'll just fold up shop after that. And it's time to go live on Stevie's property. So.
Nothing wrong with a newsletter.
Yeah, back to the handwritten newsletters. I like it. But you can go to patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. The Wednesday locker room's up there. I'll put the Impact Attack where Ray and I talk about the Hall of Fame, which was, Stevie, did you catch any of the Hall of Fame infomercial?
I saw like a highlight. I was just laughing. I'm telling my cousin he's got to be in the loop on these houses with the land and stuff.
Right on.
Once again, you go back to that really quickly. There's certain ways that I have to adjust my portfolio and try to get the money working for me with passive income. It's the only way. A brick and mortar business, or even businesses in general, like you just said, could be taken down, but investments to some degree may still be, a way to go. But I didn't invest. See, there's a segue. I didn't invest much time in the Hall of Fame, but I did see the highlights. And all I can say is, like I said last night, I have not been able to adjust to this dystopian nature of entertainment since the pandemic deal. I have not been, this is normal. You will enjoy it. You will, like you said, you're shoving this down my throat, telling me that this is the new normal, that this is the way it's supposed to be, that you can't have people in Florida gathered in this place when everybody else in Florida is. That's the strange thing too. You paid $18.5 million to a super PAC in Florida to be an essential business. They've lifted all the mandates. You could have people in that building, even socially distanced. Why are you not doing it? It's very odd. Are you waiting for the vaccine push? Is there something there? I know that has nothing to do with the Hall of Fame, but it just reminds me of, like, why do we still have these LED screens in Florida when everything is opened up?
There's a lot with even the masking stuff you sent the other day. We talked a little bit about it on the Horseman, but in Texas, with it being like that, I saw that some companies like Walgreens or whatever, Rite Aid, is still putting up things. Well, you can't come in here, but the mandate of the state says we don't need it. Well, now what are you going to do? Does Rite Aid have the law of the land to do trespassing? And will the police show up when there's not a state mandate because you're not masked inside of a building that's a private company? Like these corporations that can do it, whether it's Tech Corp, like going against major control. I wanted to get into that, and we will, because I wrote it down, about, is the technocracy now taking over, where not just in Americanized, but how many countries do they have holdover? And when does it come to the point with this senator looking into Yahoo, looking into Amazon, Google, Twitch, and all these
senator
other,
probably did think Yahoo was still a big deal.
Probably, and putting it out there. How are we going to hold their feet to the fire to tear them down from having that power? And I guess that's the same thing with
So this segment is brought to you by Vitamix.
Yeah, Spark fiber drinks.
Well, here's my thing with that, though. Like, the technocracy is one thing. Are we going to see dueling fascisms, or the triple threat fascism? Government fascism was what we're worried about. What we're starting to see is governments open up and give more freedoms back, even though it's probably 20% of what it should be.
Right.
Corporate fascism now. In our store, you will act and behave a certain way and wear the mask and do this and that. The technocracy will not let you even post. If Rite Aid makes you wear a mask and you're like, I'm in Florida, I don't have to wear a mask, and if you put that video up on Twitter, it wouldn't even be allowed to be posted. Be a problem with the server, right?
That's the New York vaccine ID app that they're trying to push nationwide, because they out of New York, everybody will follow. And the Florida governor's like, we're not even going to entertain that fucking bullshit. So now we have roadblocks back and forth in the road until what will force the Florida governor's hand to say it's going to be this, that, or the other. But right out of the gate, it's New York with a tyranny.
Well, his concubines came forward to talk about that. If he's a tyrant, he's got to have a harem. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the harem, and you got to have a fucking big supply of good weed to keep everybody.
Well, here's the thing: even in New York, where everybody had rolled over so long, and they said April 1st, which was it April 1st? So it was like April Fool's Day. You're gonna do a vaccine passport, where you might have thought there's no way that's got to be an April Fool's Day joke. It's April 8th and it's still not a thing. So people are starting to push back on this shit. People are starting to no sell. Greg Mosier just walked in and they're like, you got to wear a mask. No, check me out. I walked in a couple places. You got to wear a mask. Oh, no, we didn't know that. Okay, thank you. We didn't know you were doing an NXT entrance. I did this too. I did this when they did it. I was like, and they're like, oh shit, we didn't know you were a WWE.
Rhea Ripley.
We didn't know you meant business. Flaming Arrow.
Green Arrow.
I hurt my leg. I got cement under here that's along the bottom floor.
It still looked good. It was worth it.
Wouldn't that be something? She blew her knee out on the entrance of WrestleMania doing that. It's stupid shit like that hurts us, right?
It's almost always on something dumb like that somebody gets fucking injured on. So Hilarious entrances. I can't wait to see them all. 57.
Which we got John Hartnett in there. Not to cut you off.
Yeah, well, speaking of, he'll be going through that. Maybe she'll come out with a whole army of Ripley's and Hartnett. We'll get to do it as well. Keep an eye out for Johnny Blaze down there. We appreciate you, dude. 56, 57 strong here this morning. YouTube.com/Ben Hamin channel. Appreciate you guys asking all the questions, wanting all the shows. Right now, all our free shows are going to be going over to patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. I'll keep them up there for you guys. And thank you for everyone who's even kicked in a buck or whatever you want to do. But, free and independent media, especially when we're talking about shitty wrestling headlines. Stevie, we've got a few to get through. But again, dude, all my love, and I appreciate you as a big brother, dude.
Oh, same here, man.
WWE NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 overrun schedule news on Night 2. The Cock has then Thursday's TakeOver Delivery Night 2 show ending as a 3-hour show. There was a 5-minute overrun on Night 1. Apparently, there was a new women's champ last night. I just watched the last 15 minutes of AEW, which was another shitty 6-man, and it was strange. AEW didn't seem like, I still have to watch the rest of it before I record Light the Fuse today, which will be back here at 1 p.m. Chris Silvio and I. Yeah, man. 2 nights. We had Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai. I think it's Raquel Gonzalez went over as the new champ. MSK, formerly known as the Rascals and Impact, was the grizzled young veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. Ciampa versus Walter. I know there's a big buzz there for the NXT UK title match, but Walter, I think, will be coming up to the main roster sooner than later, possibly as a post-WrestleMania call-up. I don't know. Maybe they might want to keep him there a little bit longer. Killer Cross versus Finn Balor. That's going to be the big one for tonight. That's on the betting lines up on Bovada right now. They had Killer Cross at a -300. I thought about it, but we'll see. What do you guys think? Killer Cross up tonight or not? That's a guy who should definitely be coming up to the main roster sooner than later, and they need him. I'd love to see the next feud spin out because Randy don't give a shit about the Fiend stuff, obviously. And if he's going to if you can keep him away from Twitter and the hip hop stuff, Randy Orton versus Killer Cross would be a hell of a fucking run, man.
Yeah, that would be a tough bet too, since that means that they don't think he's going to win it, right? I don't think he's going over.
Yeah, it's NXT title match. I don't see Finn coming back up to the main roster before Cross does. Do you?
It all depends. I think Cross coming up to the roster right after WrestleMania, after he puts over Balor, is probably a better bet to say. If Hunter's high on it, well, here's the thing: if Hunter's really high on him, then he's going to get buried when he gets up there to prove that he's not a star. Or Finn Balor coming back, or just the Demon coming back, could be something to be with the Fiend.
Could be.
The problem is they don't realize how many different ways they can go, and they just stick on that one path that doesn't draw anything, doesn't draw any interest.
Classified Chappie's got the point here, and I was kind of throwing it to you here because you've talked a little bit about this before. Baylor will not go back to the main roster again. We've seen this when it's rare that a team that was main roster, and especially a champ, goes to developmental in that, okay, you're injured, you're pushed back down, or you're not getting over. Oh, I want to go back there where it was fun, or I'm going to prove it that I want to be here in WWE. Oftentimes they don't return. And right now you're seeing that with a Fandango and Tyler Breeze. Finn Balor's there as well. We've seen it in the past.
Ciampa won't go back either.
Ciampa probably won't. I can go back to guys who got sent back down and we're trying to prove it, from Roadkill to Vito. Vito went back to OVW and was doing the Muay Thai thing after the dress and getting back over, and never really gave him a chance to get back up top. There's other names who've done the prove it ground thing, and it usually doesn't work out.
I wonder, he's making a ton of money, I guess, for what he's doing at NXT. nobody's really leaving Florida right now. So, but if they have to go back on the road, I'm sure the boys and the girls are looking at it going, all right, in NXT, I'll be traveling around Florida on house shows or maybe a little bit further, but I'm not going to do the road schedule that the other two are doing. I'm not going to go overseas. It's a real thing right now. And then maybe some of them, are they going to make them get vaccinated to travel from state to state or overseas?
If you want to be in the commercial, you will. That was one thing I was going to put over. And
Daniel Bryan doesn't need any more side effects for anything, right?
I was going to put over this meme I saw from one of my country ass buddies, my boy Buck Adams. But it was that picture from, it's a dude, McLovin. What the fuck is the movie where they all
go? The License.
Yeah. And Ray goes and says, this is me with my COVID vaccine. That's the fake Hawaii license. My COVID vaccine, proof this summer. Like, exactly, bro. Like I almost want to get, because it's going to come to that with everybody's posing on Facebook with their stupid sticker and a little piece of paper that says one in Moderna next to it. Dude, you know how quick I can mock that up in Photoshop that no one would fucking, it would take me less than 25 minutes to get that done, sign and have those out there. And is that what's coming? And show me your papers and fucking,
Well, it has to be show me your app, but it's show me your app or whatever the card right now, but it's going to be the app. This is the slippery slope too. What's that?
Super Bad was the name of the room. Thanks, Jericho.
But you're going to have a case where you brought that up and they're going to say, just like the thing, why don't you cancel them? Oh, great idea. They're going to say, oh, that's right. Oh, this is just printed on card stock. So now we got to figure out a way to attach your DNA to the app or something, or there's some kind of thing, just like the Real ID license I have here, or the concealed carry has it too with the hologram. That's basically some kind of like counterfeit proof watermark, but it's also got RFID in them. The strip is the RFID. So, I mean, you have all these technologies that are technically like borderline mark of the beast. Getting back to the wrestling thing. Imagine you worked all your time to get up there. You're doing that and you think like we do, which there's probably a lot more wrestlers that think like we do. I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't trust the promoter. That's the number one thing. But what if it comes down to this thing like get vaccinated? Or here's a better question. You were in the vaccine PSA. Did you get it? I didn't see anybody with the little brown thing there.
No.
I was, a matter of fact, on one of my few tweets I was going to put out was my arm without the Band-Aid saying my body, my choice and nothing else, just because that's what everybody else is saying.
Mm-hmm.
My body, my choice. And then if they don't like my RIP gift that I send them over Instagram.
I mean, the hypocrisy is insane in what they want to do. And even in my own house where at the Emperor's Palace, my parents have up, that they watch Good Morning America every day and their minds are mush, where we social distance and it's got pictures of my nephew and niece on there because of it. And then they go to Florida for 2 weeks, don't come back in quarantine. So it's just like these fucking taglines that they think are cute, that they act like they're living by because they're brainwashed one way, but their actions go a completely different way. We also
like shooting a scene that I shot. Okay, everybody's standing around this tight around each other without masks on. But the minute we start walking out, we all put our mask on, but we're not social distance. Then we come back into the same exact room without washing our hands or doing anything or taking showers or sterilizing, and we're all standing right next to each other. And we're all touching everything, and we're all. I mean, this is 4 or 5, 6 hours. Then we're going to the locker room, and they're saying, "Wear your mask and social distance." And I'm like,
that's it right there, right? We're just living. We're participating in the fucking mousetrap in real time. Just going, this is fucking crazy, but we keep going. We keep going here with the NXT North American title match, Gauntlet Eliminator winner versus Johnny Gargano, and also NXT Women's Tag Team title match, The Way versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. I did have a Shotzi follow-up story here, not a half.
heard.
No, she's not yet. but I mean, the week is young here still. But apparently her stepfather is in a coma right now as well. As well as this page from WrestleInc.com that doesn't want to load. Let's see. WWE NXT Women's Tag Team Champion Shotzi Blackheart took to Twitter this afternoon and made a post about her stepfather being in a coma. Blackheart noted that her stepfather suffered 2 heart attacks before going into the coma. She said she was able to visit him, but things aren't looking good. It's been a rough week. I've never been this brokenhearted. My stepdad is in a coma after 2 heart attacks. I was able to visit him, and I'm hopeful, but it isn't looking good. Energy is powerful, so please send prayers, positive vibes, anything to the man that taught me how to ride a bike, Blackheart wrote. Well, that's a very heartfelt message, and she put some very nice pictures all the way. And when you say stepfather, she's posting pictures of him when she was 2 years old. So this guy's been in her life, as her father, for a very long time. Wrestling aside and all that, and ribs on bumps and being hurt, that's a serious situation. So Hamin Media Group sending their best wishes and thoughts to your family, and hopefully, obviously 2 heart attacks is very serious, and so is being in an induced coma state. But we're sending good vibes your way, Shotzi.
Yeah.
Her stepdad, I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but regardless, man, we just want to, especially during a big WrestleMania stressful weekend anyway, where she's got the spotlight on her and you got that type of stuff distracting you. That's tough. That's tough for any human being to deal with. Let's see here. Damn it. These do not want to load today.
What do you think I'm sure WrestleMania news, do you think that people are gonna pretty much not see or subscribe to the Peacock, to the cock?
Yeah, dude, I think they fucked up big by banning these segments in the 3 to 4 weeks leading up to it, just as a business decision. If they wanted to do that stuff, you gotta wait till after, because they obviously don't know their market of angry wrestling fans who want to lash out at any cost and do that afterwards. But the first priority is getting people from network to the cock and getting them signed up and subscribed. And the way you do that is doing it before WrestleMania to hold that out there for incentive of $4.99. Instead, they've taken their most diehard fan base that's going to only do bad marketing about them through word of mouth and fucked it up out of the gate, man. It's absolutely mind blowing that nobody inside NBC is even half of a wrestling mark. They would go, hold on, let me tell you about wrestling fans and why this is a bad strategy to start out with.
I don't even understand. I don't understand. I would be so, if I was them, knowing that they got this deal done before WrestleMania and said, okay, we can. I mean, this is the one time of the year where we made a right move in investing $1 billion. Let's try to get it back with this pay-per-view with subscribers. Let's see if we can, because if they got it after WrestleMania, it's like, okay, what do we got? Like, Boondock Saints pay-per-view or whatever the hell they call it. And Summer Splash or Summer Fest.
Yeah.
But they had the best timing, and I can't believe WWE gave up that income unless they just knew they're overpaying. $1 billion is way too much. Why would you give up the network and sell it off before possibly the one show that makes you the most amount of money all year? For all casual fans, even ones that haven't watched it might say, man, I'll subscribe for a month and I'll give them $10 for WrestleMania.
Yeah. And optics of how you're launching a product. You want it with the most positive push behind it. You're coming out to do things that are going to create negative media. Nobody's going to go, oh, well, thankfully they banned that DX racist blackface sketch from the 90s that wasn't really anything to do with yada, 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 and here we are. What is going on with this computer?
Yeah, here we are, man. The MLB lost over $100 million in just taxpayer money because of the All-Star game.
Right.
And guess who lost more money? The small businesses in the area. So
everything surrounding it, right? Anybody with parking or anything along those lines.
well, yeah, food, all that stuff. I mean, those are the people that are going to suffer. But I don't get this here, and I don't get how they're not promoting the crowds either at WrestleMania. I don't know if there's a story about that, about ticket sales, but are they deliberately not saying a word about capacity or what they can have? Because we don't have any kind of logistics. I mean, Steve might know, Steve King, but maybe they're like, when we get there, we'll find out where we're sitting and what we're doing.
Well,
Who knows?
Maybe Hartnett will be the guy he'll be the next arm on the glass guy. That'll be good stuff.
Very odd. I mean, the Super Bowl, I didn't hear about 47,000 or so people dying, or 27,000, however many they had.
Spring break, it's going to be a super spreader. No, well, it wasn't at all. And maybe they discussed it here, but Triple H, you might have heard of him. He disputes, quote, a very inaccurate report about WWE NXT talent meeting. Triple Game Levesque and Shawn Michaels were part of the post-game NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver media call. Triple H was asked about a report about an NXT team meeting about NXT's upcoming move to Tuesday nights. The original report stated that AEW was mentioned and how AEW came in and tried to bully them. However, a follow-up report retracted that, noting that the word bully was not mentioned at all. Triple H gave some details on the meeting with the NXT talent. He said, if I wanted everybody to know what was in the meeting, I would have put out a memo and you guys could have just got it from one of your sources firsthand and printed it. It was a conversation with our talent. That was exactly that. It was informational to tell them that where we're going, meeting that would have all the time. Given COVID restrictions, we had a lot less than we normally would. As far as the content of the meeting, that was reported by a lot of people and elsewhere, completely inaccurate. Never said, never brought up. Nobody else was ever brought up. Wasn't about other people, wasn't about other brands or companies or anything else. It was a factual meeting to tell people where we're going, where we're headed, and to motivate them to the future. Nothing more, nothing less. I talk a little as possible in those things, Michaels added. Michaels explained he'd been working as a producer in NXT for an extended period of time. How Triple H explained what that means. So whatever, it's just about him and Shawn being buddies. But you know, here's Game going in on, I didn't say that, and then the meeting wasn't about moving and why we're there. Well, like, dude, of course it's absolutely why you're moving, and not saying things is saying things. You know, like, everybody knows you got your ass kicked in this stupid little war between a shindy fucking with an unlimited budget and the developmental school. Now, it's not a third brand, it's a developmental school. And fucking the promos of and entrances when people get to the main roster back that up 100%. And then, because you want to get back up to 1 million, which is a smart business plan, say you're getting your ass kicked, splitting the audience of 1.3 million people every week. And we're going to Tuesday because we could probably be up around 1 million. That's just the business plan. But kayfabe in the sheets and going, the report was wrong, I never said that. It's about what you're not saying, and people know it, you know?
Number one, there's enough marks in that locker room that probably talked to Meltzer and all these other people. Number two, why is Hunter even sitting down to answer these questions at all? Why does he care?
Because for him, the Tony Khan scrums now, and Nick Hausman needs answers, bro.
Yeah, Nick Hausman needs answers in portrait mode. So I wonder, I just don't know why. Dude, you're a busy man. You got a whole company run down there, and you got to deal with an insane 75-year-old man claiming to belt squat 1,000 pounds. I love it. That's my favorite Vince thing. Like when he did the Gronk thing, same thing. It must be just I don't know what that thing is. He falls, comes back, and he goes, you know, like, see? There it is.
Been doing that since he was a little kid, man.
Was it the teapot thing? Look. So why are these people even talking? I understand answering it, but the length of the answer is White House press secretary length, which means that's exactly what happened. And plus, one of your talents, if not many of them, are marks, and they stooged you off and told every word. They may have even recorded it for all.
Sure. It may be on record because the rooms are bugged because you're Marks and you don't trust your own people.
The whole place is wired and has cameras.
Yep.
100%.
Oh, inside the bubble. Speaking of returning NXT talent, Keith Lee.
Keith Lee is back.
Keith Lee
stroke out too.
Keith Lee is returning to WWE programming this week. Raw superstar Keith Lee will be returning to WWE programming this week as he participates in the watch-along episode for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So he's just doing a watch-along. Lee's status has been up in the air as of late. He's been out of action since early February. It was reported in late March that Lee was actively trying to get cleared for return. You can click here for the latest backstage updates on his status and an interesting message he sent fans a few weeks ago. Why would I do that? Just put it in the story, asshole. As noted, former WWE on-air personality Kathy Kelly will be returning to WWE tonight as she participates in the watch-along as well. Who gives a fuck? Dragon Lee. I mean, blows off, the Retribution storyline. Let's post pictures with Mia Yim and we're engaged. Congratulations to them. But, Vince gets a new toy. He gets excited about it. Then the promos are embarrassingly bad. Some of the in-ring work is NXT. They just don't get it. And then they take him off because they said he had COVID, but they should be long past that, and they're just keeping him off TV. Is that because they're like, no, we'll bring him back the night after Mania. That'll be a good return for the big man. I think it would be. Or are they that effed over because they sent him back down to NXT because of fundamentals? Could they keep him in NXT like a Ciampa, or will they even release this guy, man?
There's no telling. Somebody in the chat room said they swear that I watched Jericho's promo on MJF, and I think you know the answer to that, right, Ben?
Yeah, you watch it twice.
Yeah, I always watch it. I'm a big fan. I had, as a wrestler, I have to preface this as a regular human being, that there's no way I ever wish anything on anybody, whether I like or dislike them or anything. I got to put that disclaimer out there, right?
Yeah.
But I had the most, I just, whenever I think of stuff like that, I think about Vince. Imagine if Vince had a stroke and he was calling him Keith Lee. Now everybody's name changed because Vince, but that's what Vince calls him. So we can't tell Vince that's not his name. So now you're like coming out with Keith Lee and Burley. And it's like,
get Burley.
Like everybody's been repackaged. Maybe that's why everybody has. Maybe that's why the dementia's kicked in and he can't remember two names, but he can remember one. That's why they're saying Riddle now, and other because he just can't. He can't remember two names. That's double the shit I got to remember.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know. I'm not being mean, but that's a Vince dude. I mean, they're such yes men. Do you think they would tell him his name is not Keith Lee? It's Keith Lee. God. Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
Yeah, it's like the father from the Brad Pitt movie there, when he has the stroke. Rock 'em. On the side of his mouth.
Rock 'em. Okay, let's rock. I don't know. That's not. But hey, this is the guy that, by the way, used to make fun of JR's Bell's palsy right in front of him in creative meetings. So let's, I guess Vince is dyslexic. John Harden had Keith spelled backwards.
Do you think that Mia Yim is happy or not, the fact that she gets to change her name from a Korean last name to a Chinese last name, but it's still Asian? If she changes it.
I think what's going to happen is that after they get married, Vince is going to change her name to Yim Lee, the Empress.
I like that. Yim Lee. Give me Lim
Rimri.
Legends of the Fall was the name of the movie with the father who has a stroke and swears out of the side of his mouth, and it pops me. Let's see. Somebody who's got all the strokes. CM Punk believes Chris Jericho's Broken Skull Session show. Vince McMahon isn't afraid of AEW. Stevie Richards told me that Punk told him that given his opinion on Chris Jericho appearing on WWE this month as a guest on the Broken Skull Session show, the world was left stunned when WWE confirmed that AEW champion would be interviewing Chris Jericho. Punk says it's interesting for sure. Obviously, I understand the buzz. Maybe I'll give it a shot and watch it, but it feels like it's going to be softball questions. I don't if they're going to ask Jericho all the tough questions, nor do I think they possibly should. It's an interesting situation. It'll probably be a good interview where they talk about Jericho's past in WWE. I'm sure they'll mention AEW, but they won't get into the hard questions, thing that people are interested in. Honestly, my knee-jerk reaction opinion is that I think it shows Vince McMahon isn't afraid of AEW at all. If he was, he wouldn't allow it to happen. Anytime anybody's talking about you, it's good. There will be people that don't know AEW exists who will watch and say, cool, I didn't know that. I just thought Jericho was retired. There's also something to be said about keeping your guys special and only at a place you can see superstars is on my television show, but it's a new age and both companies need eyeballs, all the eyeballs they can get at the moment. I get his point, but I disagree there kind of at the end of, I didn't know AEW existed and I thought Jericho was retired. I think that's an old schooler mentality of looking at it. And I think that wrestling is so bastardized that everybody who knows about WWE knows about AEW. There is no overflow anymore of fans who only watch WWE and don't even know anything else exists. We've killed this business so far since he left that now everybody knows, and it's just a small group of diehards who are addicted and conditioned to tuning in every Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday night this week.
To destroy their lives and waste them away. Let's be honest, the wrestling world's not that big nor shocked. So let's not talk about this like they're covering it at the border with the immigrants. Like, oh, by the way, you won't believe this.
So when Punk told you that, what'd you say to him?
Yeah, well, when I saw him, and we talked, it was just what I expected. That he was so happy to talk about wrestling for hours and hours and hours. I was so happy to listen after all the podcasts. I was like, I can't wait to talk some more wrestling with my friend. He did hug me and said, I've been here for a fucking month.
Welcome to the cell block, man. But shout out Phil.
Shout out to Heels for listening to the podcast.
Yeah, if he wants to come on.
No. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about other people somehow are listening to this.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's listening, and Punk's listening too. Unblock me on Twitter or don't. I don't give a fuck. Becky Lynch returning in the not too distant future. Next Sunday, AD. There was a guy named Joel, not too different from you or me, says WWE president. And there's also a Ronda Rousey update in this story. So are you ready? Are we close to a Becky Lynch return? President Nick Khan recently sat down with Colin Cowherd on his podcast to discuss business end of the economy. Near the end of the interview, Cowherd asks, I wonder if Vince loves that. Cowherd asked if Vince McMahon has been surprised by the surging popularity of women's professional wrestling MMA fighters in recent years. But I just like his last name is Cowherd because Vince would love that. Nick Khan believes that Vince is thrilled by the rise of major stars in WWE Women's Division, which led to a discussion about the main event of WrestleMania 35 that saw Lynch defeat Rousey and Charlotte Flair in the first ever women's main event. Khan then voluntarily offered up some information confirming that Rousey will be back in WWE, quote, at a certain point in time. While the news is incredibly vague, we still haven't seen the UFC Hall of Famer since she lost in that match. What's slightly more clear is that Khan has also confirmed that Becky Lynch will be back in action at a certain point in time in the not too distant future following the birth of her first child. Shocker. Lynch successfully retained the Raw Women's Championship at Mania 36, but lost to Asuka after announcing her pregnant. Didn't lose that. I just gave the belt up to Asuka after that. So might kill him with possibly the worst story of the day with hearsay news and no said dates in the distant future, Stevie.
Do you think here's Master Sheet worthy thoughts? Do you
Mm-hmm.
think one day Vince will just walk into the office and accuse Nick Khan of starting another wrestling promotion and then firing him?
Get me Khan. I heard you're going against me, pal. He just
There can't be more than one, right? We already got one.
We already got one of those kind. We don't need one of you. Thanks. Kurt Angle reveals who pitched the milk truck idea. That was Brian Gerwitz. I've heard Gerwitz. Gewirtz. He came up with that great material for me. It was a spin-off of Stone Cold Steve Austin beer trucking incident. No shit. Where he brought the beer truck hose McMahon. Since I was doing a program with Austin, Brian came up with the idea of driving the milk truck in. Yada yada. My only interaction with Brian Gewirtz was when I was sitting with Ed Koski to interview for the position, and then he got a text message and stood up and walked out after a minute and a half. So Koski was cool, and that was about the only interaction I've had with him. But I know The Rock puts him over for a lot of good ideas and whatnot. Did he have any hand in right to censor stuff?
No, he was against it. He was part of the reason why it went away.
Really? So
yeah. So you and your 1 minute span of the aloofness of Brian Gewirtz got the dose that you needed.
Got it. Yeah.
Maybe every other stereotypical Hollywood type writer, who knows? Just Jacob Israel, Jamie Morris, he did politically. He made it very difficult. And Jamie's a great guy. We've had him on the show. We had him on the Horseman. Made life extremely difficult for him.
Really?
And that's why the right to censor ended so quickly. I mean, there's other elements at work because we were the top heel group, and other people that wanted to be top heels with 3 letters in their name. It takes not a no, but a not yes to get you buried. It's very, very weird. The passive aggressive. Yeah, and he's not going to be mean to The Rock. He's not going to be a dick to The Rock. You know what I mean? He's getting way more a Rock.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if he's writing for The Rock show,
he more likely is.
I believe it. I'm just saying, not very good stuff already.
Yeah.
It's not Nick Khan, but Tony Khan discusses Chris Jericho's broken skull appearance. So let's see what he says. Vince McMahon is no longer scared of me. My product cannot stand up to what happened was, and I had never even considered this would be a possibility. When I heard from Chris that this was something that he wanted to do, I had to think about it for a minute. He and Steve had talked, and Steve had asked Chris if he had interest in doing the show, and Chris brought it up to me. At first, I was taken aback because Chris is doing something with Peacock. WWE's partner is obviously going to give me pause. But when he said it was Steve hosting, I didn't have to think very hard. I feel Steve is independent, even though he works with WWE and that's a company we compete with. I trust Steve immensely, and I trust Chris. They're both friends of mine, and I feel it's going to be a good show. Chris told me I'm going to like it. It's a good chance to promote AEW to different fans, and Steve's being the host had a lot to do with it. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but I'm excited about it. And anytime Steve is involved, I think it's great, said Khan. Well, they're friends. Stevie, they're friends.
I heard friends. That's all I needed to.
So do you think Steve Austin joins the best friends with Orange Cassidy and everybody next week, or no?
We're your friends too, Tony Khan. Can we have money now?
Yeah, I'm your friend. Steve Austin's my friend. Steve Austin is my friend.
There's a lot to unpack there, and it all has to do with how many people love Tony Khan, right?
Yeah.
Sure, he's a nice enough guy, but man, this is why we had the meeting we had last night. This is why we keep our businesses in check. We need to have ourselves regulated, because this Tony Khan is somebody that could quite possibly be in a completely different spot if somebody isn't letting him be Tony Khan publicly. This is a bad thing. This is the Sharks are. I mean, now Austin's like, this fucking guy will give me $20 million a year if I want to just come in and say hell yeah and drink a beer. Because don't think if he will not legitimately hand Steve a blank check, because that's what friends do. But he trusts him immensely with the blank check for Steve to fill out with 8 figures. And Tony would gladly pay it to him.
Well, he needs friends.
Where's that song at?
Kurt Angle, I got my stories out of mix because
and by the way, being a made guy, he never got back to me when I tweeted him saying that we're going to be neighbors. I can't walk into the door at the Jacksonville Jaguars facility.
Well, tweet him again and say, I need a friend, Tony. I just need a friend.
I need a friend, and his name is Benjamin Franklin.
Kurt Angle follow-up story and asked about ribs. He said, I don't remember any serious ribs, Angle said. I do remember when Mark Henry ate a sandwich. I didn't believe it. I thought it was all bullshit. I didn't know the headbangers. They got Mark Henry a sandwich and crapped in it, put it in a wrapper, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Mark Henry actually ate it. That was pretty brutal. When I hear about that one, I thought it was the grossest thing I've ever heard. You got to be a real idiot to do that to someone. Were you there when the crapping in the sandwich happened? I can't believe that to be. I believe it possibly happened and it could be true, but I don't know any confirmation.
No, I wasn't there. That was 96 or 97 when he first got there in 96. Well, who's quoted? Who's quoted?
That was Angle. They just asked him about ribs, and he said he doesn't have any of his own that were bad or gross that he wanted to share, but that one of the headbangers crap in a Mark Henry sandwich.
Yeah, well, that DX segment brought it up, the one that got banned.
Oh, really?
Because I smell a shit sandwich is what Xbox said. Remember that?
Yeah.
Something like that. But wrestling didn't used to be a very easy place to be.
No.
Didn't used to be a very PC. There was no human resources stepping in. I mean, obviously we had the freedom to create, and it was for people that were not normal. Now it's, I believe, like you said, it's for people that look just like everybody else and almost act like everybody else. That might be part of the, it's a curse now, but it's also a blessing. I mean, it's like JBL's thing. If I offended anybody in the dressing room or anywhere else, cry me a river, you snowflakes. It was a clever line, but there used to be days where that stuff was, the last thing on your mind was actually going out and having a good match and trying to make a living. It was a much different business.
Right. I wonder, they're wondering if Shane crapped in a sandwich for Braun if he ate it. Possibly.
Well, I mean, his massive intellect, that's how he proves it.
Right. On the way out from Impact Wrestling, I did see that there were stories that were follow-ups that 38,000 number was wrong and that it was around 140,000. But I'm like, damage is done, bro. They're like, no matter what retraction you put, the web saw it, you know what I mean? And how that got out and spread is like, okay. But
how do you mess it up that much though? How do you get that much? I mean, I can see it being 48 or 58, but how do you get it off by 100,000?
Yeah.
My number's higher than what it was the week before. So you're saying your ratings went up with where it was?
Yeah.
I don't know about
that. Yeah. So what do you believe? At the end of the day, because they didn't put out the official statement, it was just more to the sheets. But from talent themselves, Reno Scum announces their departure from Impact Wrestling. Adam Thorstow took to Twitter on Tuesday to announce that he and Luster the Legend, collectively known as Reno Scum, are no longer with Impact Wrestling. The tandem had their initial Impact run for less than a year in 2017 before injury, but returned in 2019 for sporadic appearances. Most recently, Reno Scum lost tag team matches to Finn Juice and Decay. That was a great match, by the way. But he says from at Thorstone _ Scum, well, Reno Scum's time with Impact has come to an end. I'm nothing but thankful for everything they did for us. I want to thank the staff and producers and especially the talent. It's undoubtedly one of the most talented locker rooms in the world. Until we see you again, oi, 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 we'll be okay. Please continue to support them. They are interesting. These are interesting times in wrestling. We plan on staying relevant after we regroup. Again, nothing but thankful to everybody there. It's been hard to put into words, but please know there's nothing but love. Kind of like, a lot to unpack, even though that's a good message on the way out, very professional. I'm a fan of Reno Scum. I think they have great tag team look, offense. They do their shtick well. They commit to the bit. You don't get all those tattoos and fucking massive mohawks and be some Reno rock and roll dirtbags. You got to live that life, that look, you know, and they do it well. A very interesting tag team to see. But I bet they were probably on a per performance basis when they came back, and was probably costing them money to travel from Vegas to Memphis and make just a little bit of almost probably what their indie rate is. So spots open, but does that speak bigger to Impact when teams like Reno Scum, who are kind of in and out to do business, are leaving? You know, I'm hoping they're not, as the show moves to Thursday nights this week. You know, especially with Sammy reaching out, but that number last week, guys leaving this week, these are really tough times. I'm not sure if Swingers said anything or not, but you know, hopefully there's going to be a place for people to work.
No, I've never seen these guys before, but now that I just taking a look at them, I'm like, why are they not trying to keep these guys?
Yeah, I mean, but because they've probably got Triple XL and other guys doing the same thing. Hard not, I can't disagree there. Impact wasn't paying people 3 years ago. I'm sure it hasn't gotten better. And, you know, John was with the champ. You know, that was probably the best Bobby Lashley we'd ever seen, including with the Hurt Business was solid too. But you know, when they had the American Top Team stuff going, that was the most badass and believable shit going. And, you know, this is a tale as old as time for many management regimes, whether it's Dixie, Ed Nordholm, or Billy Corgan's. I had to have my letter write the Nasty Gram to get my $3,300 out of them. And it's the same old carny shit holding together with bubblegum tape.
There's two sides to this, because obviously I want the boys to always get paid, the girls too, or whoever, what talent. Yeah, he got paid by Lambert. I mean, I know, you know, basically, yeah, you're the biggest stooge here. You've usurped me. I got to keep the heel secret, even though the show is posting on Instagram every day.
Right.
I'm all for everybody getting the most amount of money they can, but from a company standpoint, what would you rather do? And TNA's been doing this forever. I told you the story, like when the Machine Guns and other people were getting jobs outside of TNA because they weren't paying the X Division guys or anybody else anything, but then they bring Hogan, Bischoff, Rob, and Jeff Hardy back in one night.
And now you got the Major Brothers. Like,
well, what I'm saying is, like, you're paying the Good Brothers for what? I mean, even if it's a nightly deal, it's a high nightly deal, and they're working AEW too, so I'm sure Khan's paying them on that. Would you rather spend that money on one team that you're not quite sure if you're going to get the return on, or would you keep 3 to 4 teams and maybe, you know, about for the same price? It's not a lot of money, but you're looking at pulling that money. Impact's been to some extent the brokest company, along with the biggest money mark purse strings that I've seen at the same time. They'll pay who they want to pay, who they like, but not who's really drawing, because there's no way to know what you're drawing. There's no fans. The ratings aren't going up with the people you're paying. So what do you do? It's hard. I mean, I mean, if they were paying me $125,000 a year, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to save the money and invest it and try to do what I can, knowing that I know people in the company that are making 1/10 that.
Right. And they say the locker room's strong, and it is a super talented and driven locker room. But if you got guys like Moose that you know are getting a $200K guarantee, and you're getting your $250, only $100 more than you got on the indies, plus you got to pay your own travel and do all that. You know, it like, how can you have a locker room that is unified? You're not going to be. There's going to be jealousy and whatnot, and it's not against the boys getting their money. It's just like there's only so many spots, and you want to be on them. And some dudes, they pull those strings on, and you know, D'Amore's a master of this stuff. But with those guys who are on pay performance, but then you do bring in the Good Brothers, you do bring in the Major Brothers, you do bring in more top guys that are going to get guaranteed money and spots in order to do that. Well, guys like Reno Scum, who are excellent performers, it doesn't make sense for them to stay, unfortunately. And
I never seen those guys before, but looking as a worker and seeing their look, I'm like, holy shit, those guys they look like good NXT talents or something, or somebody that should be on TV. They look different.
Shotzi Blackheart and them would be a great crew together.
Well, you never know. It could be the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah. And they've been around for a while, man. Those guys are great tandem offense, good big man, little man. They run all the false tags and heat spots, great tandem offense. So I hope they do well. I hope they can. Shout out to Custin Jempel. Custin joining Stevie Richards Fitness today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I sent him the thank you thing, and then he didn't ask to join the Facebook group yet, but make sure you do that, Justin. A lot of great people in there. Greg Mosier, we have stooges everywhere today, don't we? Numbers for attendance at Mania. Friend, he dies, sound production. So maybe Greg, his speech is slurred too. Does sound production. He told me 25 to 30,000 tickets sold. So that's about 27. Same as the Tampa Bay, but I would dare say the Super Bowl could have sold more. I'm not sure if WrestleMania can sell that much right now. They couldn't draw the ratings during a pandemic when they were the only live sporting event on every week.
But they don't have to make the money off the pay-per-view because it's all going to Peacock. So is the cock going to fucking make anything off of $4.99 signups in order to fucking cover their $1 million, bro?
If known.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that $1 billion back. They might have to write off the loss or sell. Maybe they're going to sell to Disney. Maybe they'll end up somehow WWE, they'll want to buy the company and then just sell it right off to Disney.
Well, look what we're doing. At one time in the last decade, we had one, maybe two subscription services, Hulu and Netflix. Then to get most of your content, then you got, even with wrestling, Fight app, but let's say Disney app. Now we got the cock. We got fucking there's another big subscription service, right? So they're diversifying again, splitting up these libraries only to do what? Consolidate and fucking merge later on, which will up stock prices and create, instead of 5 owners of libraries, 3 owners of libraries until we do
the major media companies are all pulling together, and there's only going to be one streaming service controlled by one company that takes over the other ones. That kind of thing.
Exactly. We saw it with the conglomerates of the media companies. Now they've gone, people are cutting the cord on cable, so we're going to go with this model. But so now we had 2, now we have 7 major ones to choose from. But all of those, there's going to be 3 or 4 that get pushed out or consumed and rebranded, just like the media company itself. So in the end, these libraries that were independent get split up and do deals within the 7. And then of the 7, they get consolidated to 3. And then there's even more power and we have everything.
Interesting.
Crazy, bro. Amazon Prime. That's the other big one, right?
Well, who knows if Amazon's rich enough to buy them all up?
They could be. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Disney and Amazon will be the two of the big 3.
As long as the websites that you gave me that I wrote down are still in existence, I won't care how you can have half a company owning it all. I don't care.
Let's see. 2 stories left, Stevie. Left one or right one? Left Twix or right Twix?
There's no right one.
Then the Blue Meanie, you might have heard of him, calls NXT the superior brand to AEW. So there goes your AEW shot. ECW original hosted Mind of the Meanie. And on today's episode on Wrestle Stink Daily, managing editor Dick Hausman and Meanie discussed the Wednesday Night War. And while giving his thoughts on NXT superstar Cameron Grimes, Meanie made a bold claim. He's so entertaining, just doing the stock market gimmick. He's entertaining as hell as an athlete. He was trained by some good people and coached by Shane Helms. I know they had a relationship. He's super entertaining. To me, NXT's the superior brand right now. Well, if it's the superior brand, buddy, then why are they under 20% of what the other show is? And I agree, looks wise, it may be, and not doing as many stupid carny things, shindy things to restart their business all the time. Because I believe Triple H and Shawn are far superior mentally to Khan in, in every way in this business. But I'm just wondering, are they going to overtake them? You got a superior product, because that there is truth in that, because Impact has a superior product to all of them. And they're doing the least amount of numbers. But Heat by association, there goes your friendship with Tony Khan and Steve Austin.
I trust Meanie immensely. So took you a while to get that one.
Yeah, I got you.
Meanie can have an opinion. That's why he has a podcast. I just would love to see him back that up with more numbers. I would love to see. Now, if we're looking at balance sheets, I think both companies are huge losers. Nobody's making money, but Khan can afford to lose 20 million, but WWE's like, hold my beer. We're 25 to 35 million. We're losing that much on this thing. And you're not getting it back when they get to the main roster. So is your brand superior? It's not even doing the job that it's supposed to be doing and growing the superstars of today and tomorrow. So that's my counter to that.
Getting things over like the Grimes things. I think Grimes is awesome too. He was great in Impact, a standout. And now I didn't really get the Southern scumbag thing with the top hat, but now that they had the Bitcoin thing and sent it off that way, he's found his voice and found a niche. But will that just stay, live and die in NXT and never make it to the main roster, like you're saying? So if this is the developmental school and developmental for gimmicks, I don't see that Cameron Grimes thing making it to the main roster. That's just going to be an in-house thing that was cool at that time. The real value in NXT is Killer Cross, Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, I don't know them all yet because I haven't been watching a ton, but even Rhea Ripley, who's up there now, is just like, okay, she's Charlotte's next opponent. It's not like this girl's taking the fucking world by storm, you know? I get it.
She sure walks down the ramp like she is.
Yeah.
Do you think she rehearsed that
100 times, bro?
To the music and the beat and when the bass hits and
yes,
this is like the old.
A lightning bolt comes down when she stomps her fucking foot. That's all. Kick, turn, 1, 2, stomp your foot and turn. 5, 6, 7, 8. You're walking. You're in the ring and stand up, snarl and turn. Grab your vest, snarl again, and yeah, like that's the fucking cadence that's going on in their fucking head while the music is fucking happening, dude. It is some old Busby Berkeley musical theater choreography 1 and 2, and I can spot it a mile away, and it makes me fucking laugh, bro.
What if you've all been on the shows where that indie talent that just started, or they're really green, but they want to wait behind the curtain till the right point in their song, and you're the guy that goes, get out there, like, and they're all mad, like it was before the bass hit, right? They're like, no, not yet, and boom, and I come through like, yeah, just dude, I'm like, that's 30 extra seconds I need to be in this match. I gotta get in there and get.
Wow, we've got some heavy.
Like Blackjack Lanza used to say, just get in and get to the action. I got some trimming next town.
All the Johns are in the house. John Carnage, John Hartnett, all the heavy hitters are in here, man.
It's good to know John Carnage is alive. Sometimes I worry about him. He just disappears for months at a time.
Well, he's a wild genius.
These tech entrepreneurs, they're just so flaky, aren't they?
They got to take over these third world countries so they can bring it all back here and clip us, man.
Nice. Yeah, maybe he was building some, some green plants overseas for Apple or something. The ones with suicide nets around them.
I'm gonna enjoy some green plants after this show's over. I'll fucking tell you.
They are eco-friendly suicide nets, by the way. They're organic.
They are organic. But he's having a good time, and shout out to everybody. WrestleMania week here. Our final story of the day. Let me stop
real quick. Someone did hire a gay choreographer gimmick. It was Fandango, by the way. And look, right? That was basically the gay dancer gimmick, right?
The male dancer and all that kind of shit. But and they're back down in NXT, probably never to be heard from again on the main roster as well.
Nice. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Someone who may never be heard from again as well. The Young Bucks threaten to delete their Twitter accounts again. Young Bucks, the AEW champions, have threatened to delete their Twitter accounts again if their mentions are filled with negative or toxic comments. They tweeted, "Please refrain from any negative or toxic comments in our mentions tonight. If so, we'll unfortunately delete our Twitter accounts again. Thank you and have a great night." Bucks sent out the tweet after turning heel during the final segment of Dynamite. During the main event of the show, Matt and Nick Jackson turned on their partner Moxley in the trios match against Omega and the Good Brothers. The show ended with the Bucks joining Omega's faction. The tweet appeared to be further along that angle. So they wouldn't do the bullet thing and they left to be babies, but 2 weeks later, now they're joining Omega's faction. Is that the Bullet Club or the Omega Men? What the fuck is possibly?
It was all a ruse.
Like,
let's break this down though.
Yeah, but break it down.
You turned heel,
and
then you go to Twitter to stop people from giving you heat and hating you for turning.
Is that like the bait of like, don't you do it or we'll delete?
They could be smarter than all of us, but do you think I don't know, man. It's hard to say at this point because they did it before.
Right? It's a cried wolf type thing, but it's lost in translation, man, of what it has to be. Hartnett thinks it's bait. I can't disagree, but like this isn't
now if they said that in their promo, don't you go to Twitter and start doing this because it's the whole thing like shut up or I'm leaving and never coming back again. On a tweet, you don't know the context and the inflection of the heel promo if that's what it is.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's this angle is like, so you want us to do, from what I've seen, I like most of what Kenny's doing with his promos, his matches, especially with the Seidel. I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was great.
I liked it. That's what I was going to say before. When there's chemistry like that, it's like we got to run with this. I would have called almost a non-finish and kept that going because why have Matt Seidel do the job? Look at what you got here. And of course, nine days from now is more famous than any match. But this angle of join my group that we're talking about that we were in 15 iterations ago of the group. If you all remember, now it's join back with my group, but there's a group in Japan. Then AJ's got a group that he did in this group. Well, these two guys were in the group. Now they're with me. Then they're on Impact. Then am I following this correctly? That it's very confusing.
No, you laid it out perfectly. That's the roadmap.
I mean, wrestling fans are known to take deep dives in the deep thoughts. And really, they love a good puzzle to solve.
I mean, 3 weeks ago, Penta was saying he was going to break Cody's arm so he couldn't hold his baby. Then the next week, he's reunited with his estranged brother and the Laredo Kid as they work babyface luchador instead. Nothing makes a bit of
people change.
They do. They saw the light. They saw it all. We might be seeing the light here. John Carnage, I might have to call in a favor as I gotta connect with Velvet Sky later tonight because she wants to set up her Twitch, and I might need those that and a couple other accounts grandfathered in to be able to accept all the bits and hits so she can do her toenails and foot fetish people can cheer bits. So plenty of favors from my good friends, Tony Khan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Carnage, and John Hartnett and Stevie Richards that I'll be cashing in this weekend through text messages. On a full day of production here, going to meet with Amber Neal as we are working with A-Star Network and Stevie Ray TV to get those shows on A-Star. Just a lot of good business today to get done. I'll be back here at 1 p.m. with the Chris Silvio to talk more about AEW with Mike Tyson last night and probably that story that we just covered right there and a few others. So, we're doing as much as we can while we're deplatformed on Twitch and YouTube demonetized, and now Podbean has shut us down, John. So if you have any inside Silicon Valley connects or home addresses that I can go drive hammers and nails through people's hands, I'd appreciate it. Please feel free to forward those.
Well, more importantly, if there's any other startups that he's starting right now that you just want to get shadow banned on preemptively, that can also
be if there's any other if there's other platforms where I can sign up to get kicked off as quickly as possible, let me know. Hartnett, we wish you the best this weekend, man. I know you got a big weekend there in Florida of hopefully, who knows, maybe you'll be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal before it's all said and done. But
isn't that tonight, tomorrow? Friday?
Could be. I know
That's got SmackDown actually, right?
That I don't even know. But I'll be watching live because it's the SmackDown Live self-help group also here at YouTube where we'll be
maybe I'll advertise Hogan and Andre again for the show.
I think Hartnett's going to be out power washing Bad Bunny's Bugatti. I think that's going to be his piece there, and that should get him an NXT or an AEW job just based on his power washing skills alone.
I actually saw one of those guys in Target. I got to tell you off air.
Okay. Awesome. I can't wait. But on air, it's all about Stevie Richards Fitness, getting in the best shape we can, staying healthy, is what we're trying to do here, promote healthy lifestyle, Hamin Media Group. Stevie, what else aside from some house hunting are you going to be doing this weekend, watching all 94 hours of WrestleMania?
I hope not. But I do have off to the side here. I did a second virtual signing, so I have to mail that stuff out to the promoter. That was a good time on Saturday afternoon. It was kind of cool to be able to answer questions, sign some stuff, and like I said before, kind of be reminded, I kind of did a couple things, so that's pretty cool. Nice. But also, I got to start making more content and keep up. When YouTube does what they do, it discourages you from wanting to put in the time to film, edit, do all this stuff, but I can hop back on it and do that stuff. So I'll probably do some more home gym videos. I got to install the new glass panel to the Arcade, the WrestleMania one. So call time 10 a.m. That sounds awful for John Hartnett. Just hide, break into the skyboxes like I used to do, John, and just hide and play video games. But other than that, like I said, we're going to be trying to maybe look for a new location for the studio, for the home gym. It's the worst time in the world to do it, but hopefully we'll see if we can get something. I think it's not so much the housing bubble will burst, the affordability bubble will definitely burst because so many people living outside their means and doing. Lots of wrestlers may lose their house after WrestleMania, living in very, very expensive houses. So
you can believe that.
I don't wish that on anyone, but you could have bought a condo like John Hartnett, who put a full gym in the condo too, with Force USA equipment. So good for him.
Shout out Force USA. You guys don't go back to Planet Shit List with the masks. Don't participate in the great rat race. You can get great deals using all of Stevie's codes. And even if you don't have the cash or you're just getting your fitness journey started, I see Media M5 just ordered Stevie Richards Fitness too. He's going to be joining us. So we're here to support you guys in every way we can. And thank you for supporting us, Hamin Media Group, as we're in a time of transition. I can't wait to become Beverly after my transition. But we're finding a new home for all the shows. But patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. I'm keeping the free shows free there. Conspiracy Horseman, we're gonna have its own brand and split off from that as we start to shape that up. Thank you for sticking with us, and probably internet radio is where we're going next. And it's just about getting everything signed up and getting the app done. So I think next week Horseman may be off, maybe even the next 2 weeks as we regroup. And I'm coming back from vacation 15th through the 19th. So appreciate all my producers and co-hosts who are going to pick up the slack there. And if something might not be in the rotation for a week, don't freak out too bad and go ape shit on Twitter, even though I know most of you will. But that also makes me feel good of like, shit, we're a part of their lives, and it's important, and we're doing decent work out here, even if it's wrestling phony headlines to distract from all the major media bullshit. It gives everybody an escape, and everybody seems to enjoy being in the locker room with the veterans on Friday. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully, if we can get it set up, if Strangler Steve is available to have Steve King and Stevie Richards next Friday on the Friday Veteran Locker Room together. I think that'll be a show I can't wait to listen to. So that'll be hilarious, John, if you do that. He's going to ask Triple H if he's lost some weight.
Yeah, and he's going to tell everybody if he gets in trouble, I said it was okay, which you can tell everybody I said to go fuck themselves there. How's that?
What if Triple H shows up as wrestling stuntman number 7 next week in Crew?
I'll tell you a quick story, Donovan Morgan, and he's been a dear friend of mine for so many years. But there's always that thing like, hey, when you see so-and-so, and wrestlers always do this. When you see so-and-so, instead of saying, tell him I said hello, hey, when you see so-and-so, tell him said go fuck himself, right?
Yeah,
How many times have you done that?
Yeah.
Well, he told me to do that to Doug Williams. And I walked up to Doug Williams at TNA. I go, hey, I just got off phone with Donovan Morgan. And he was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, man, Donovan's such a good guy. How's he doing? And I go, he wanted me to tell you to go fuck yourself. And I walked away. He looked so confused.
The Brits aren't ready for the American slams, but we lay them down anyway. And you better get out there, set up the ring, infidels. Bad Bunny's got to rehearse his off the top rope spot 16 or 17 times before we go live here, infidels, because it's only veterans are doing it here at hackerhamin.pot or Hacker Hamin. Ben Hamin, YouTube. Wherever you find us.
Somewhere.
It's Big Stevie Cool. It's been NXT TakeOver, infidels, on the Friday Veteran Locker Room. YOLO.